Okay, next question. Harry, our auto industry is lagging behind Japanese auto manufacturers in developing fuel cells. Do you think fuel cells should be explored, or since Japanese manufacturers have most of the patents on automotive use of fuel cells thanks to Clinton and Bush's underfunded technological development to any significant degree during its infancy, should we now rely on or should we now rely on other systems for car propulsion?
Fuel cells are simply impractical, Judy. They have been around since the 1800s. We know all about fuel cells. NASA's used them for all of the moon rockets and space shuttles, but they are not cost effective. The cost of the fuel cells are 10 times more than the cost of the car itself. And they require strategic materials. And trillions of dollars, we'd have to come up with more money to replace all of the internal combustion engines that do power the world. They are the engines that run everything worldwide. And it's not the internal combustion engine that's the problem. Al Gore had it completely wrong. It is the fuel that is the problem. If you put hydrogen fuel in an internal combustion engine, it is a clean machine. It doesn't produce any organic acids or carbon deposits, and you can get down and sniff up the exhaust. It's so pure. It's much purer than the air you're breathing. And that includes the air in your house, I might add, which is also pretty contaminated because of all the poisons we have in our environment. Under the kitchen sink, for example, that we just don't even know are there. I'm talking about products like Windex, for heaven's sakes. If you think it's not toxic, spray it on a bug sometime and watch how fast that bug dies. This is the problem. We have trillions of dollars of healthcare costs because we have a country that our last basic industry of manufacturing right now is poison. Whether it's gasoline, diesel fuel, natural gas, it's all poison. And the only solution that is not poison is hydrogen made from water with the sun, or derivatives of the sun like wind systems, which I favor because you can build those 5 million wind machines to run the entire United States of America in 1 year once the tooling's in place. And how do I know that? Because it's just like an automobile, and we make 10 million of those every year.
Okay, JL, you have a minute to respond. We were talking about fuel cells.
Yes, well, the fuel cells as they're portrayed, or as Japan is using, BMW has actually perfected to a degree. They're not the best plan, and they do actually convert water to hydrogen for the most part. So they were touching on Harry's hydrogen project.
Now, it's the other way around. They convert hydrogen into water.
Yeah, well, the versions that I've seen were converting the water into hydrogen and, blowing
those
up
the oxygen. Those are called electrolyzers. Yeah, those are electrolyzers, okay. Not fuel cells.
Yeah, okay. Well, the fuel cell of the Mueller automobile is actually a pretty clean system. It would provide manufacturing, which is what we need, but it's a private business. The federal government doesn't have any place developing private enterprise. And they had no place bailing out GM and Chrysler either.
Okay, Harry, do you want to respond to that?
Yes, I do. I think they do have a place to be involved in certain core strategic industries, just like the government of China does. And if you haven't noticed, China's cleaning our clock in the market because they are involved in their private sector in a very direct way. In fact, if we just bailed out all the banks and all the automobile companies, what I want to know is why don't we, the taxpayers, own a piece of that company permanently now? Why don't we earn the fees? We put all this money into the banks, and they pay us back the loans and keep the vast majority of the wealth? I think this is crazy. This is just socialism for the super rich. That's all this is.
JL?
This is crazy. If the majority of the people were in charge of this country, I'll guarantee you that would not be the case.
JL?
The American people want to be treated fairly, and they don't want to give all the money to a tiny handful of super rich people.
JL, you have 30 seconds.
I can't disagree on the banks. As far as I'm concerned, we own the banks. The U.S. taxpayers own the banks.
We should own the banks.
We do. They're taking the houses.
No, we don't.
Well,
we don't own anything. The banks own everything.
I know.
And they treat us like patsies. There was no banking reform.
I'm saying by law, we do own them because we build them out. But the corrupt politicians and lobbyists will never let us see that.
What
And
law
as far
do
as
we
I'm
own the
concerned,
banks? What law says that the people own the banks?
well, the taxpayers build them out. We own their
Well, that doesn't mean we own.
Well, we own the
Taxpayers are
collateral.
stupid.
Yeah,
They provide.
and that. But
Give me 30
I
seconds.
believe that the foreclosed homes should go back to their original owners. That's my personal belief. Since you touched the subject, I might as well finish it. In Detroit, they're just bulldozing them and then writing it off on taxes. It's unconscionable what they've done.
Thank you, candidates, for participating in these debates and helping us get to know you. We look forward to more heated debates on our next debate, which will focus on campaign reform and civil liberties. To learn more about our debate schedule, register at rightindependent.org. From Los Angeles, California, this is Judy Frankel signing off. Thank you and have a stupendous day.